Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I must say that reading down through people's comments who notice your passion makes uploading these videos all worth it, because as a YouTube creator, you never know how many people are going to watch your videos and how many views you're going to get for each video that you upload. But Descendants and Zombies fans, I've come to realize, are the most incredibly supportive fans that anyone could provide commentary for. Unfortunately for you guys, people don't want to commentate on Descendants and Zombies because they choose to criticize it. And I think that if we noticed everything happening in the lives of these stars who bring these characters to life, I think we would have a greater appreciation as columnists and journalists who review this kind of thing. Because I've been around for a very long time and I've seen the best of them come and go. Some of them leave because of pressure that they are under. Some of them can't make sense in their own lives about how people feel about them and why people feel about them the way that they do. I get that. And I know what it's like to be a fan of something like Descendants and Zombies and have hope for the foreseeable future about Descendants 5, Zombies 6, Zombies 7. I get that. And what I want to do is I want to upload videos that will make people feel inspired. And lo and behold, almost a year later after I launched this YouTube channel, and I came back from out of nowhere, this YouTube channel has become the most popular Descendants and Zombies conversation YouTube channel in the way of commentaries, reaction videos, and it's become my honor to have been your voice of Descendants and Zombies for this long. It feels like forever that I've been sitting behind this microphone helping you guys make sense of Descendants and Zombies, breaking it down and analyzing it. People have gone as far as to refer to me as a Descendants analyst, and I think that's the greatest way of being referred to as a host of a show, because, as I just said, you never know how many people are going to watch your videos, how many views you're going to get each time you upload a video. But the cool thing about this YouTube channel is the views go up all the time, the watch hours go up all the time, and it pushes this YouTube channel that much further out into the algorithm so that somebody looking up Descendants and Zombies videos can find these videos and can find time in appreciating and watching them too. Because that's why the watch hours are increasing all the time, is because a girl just wants to watch the best Descendants videos that she can watch on YouTube. And unfortunately for her, it's becoming great difficult to find those videos because people aren't uploading them. I've seen way too many reaction videos about people's opinions of Kylie Cantrell and Fred Guy found within them, and it breaks my heart that you guys are subjected to having to watch this, because as a result of it, you're having to watch the same 4 or 5 videos that you love, wishing that more people would upload Descendants and Zombies videos that actually make sense. Because that's the thing. You've got to make sense to the people who are watching the videos as to why you are a fan of Descendants and Zombies. I think for me it had everything to do with the powerful story, the music, the characters, the color scheme, how the characters were brought to life by superstars, because there's no other way to describe them, only superstars. I mean, they've come so far in such a short amount of time. At 20 years old, I was anything but a superstar. I was playing PlayStation 2 at the time, because PlayStation 2 was released in the year 2000. So off of PlayStation 2's release, you had, of course, Metal Gear Solid 2, you had Crash Bandicoot, The Wrath of Cortex, you had Things and the Cursed Mummy, you had Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, so you had all these hit video games, and that's what I was spending my time doing. I know that sounds really crappy to a lot of people, but that's what I love doing, and that's what I had a passion for. And then over 25 years later, I'm sitting in this chair, one of the most popular Descendants of Zombies YouTube channel hosts in the world. I never really had the best life, and all I ever wanted to do was to have my voice heard and to have my show seen. And over the years that I hosted radio shows and YouTube videos out of my parents' basement, which was very poorly financed, mind you, especially it was a constant struggle on bingo and card game nights, when Mom would have bingo and card game nights every Wednesday, and people were shouting out bingo, and 120s was being played. It was very difficult to talk about the niches that you love, because even the people that were attending the card games could never make sense of it, because all they ever could identify with when it came to Disney was, say, Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck, probably Pluto perhaps, I really don't know, Mickey and Minnie Mouse's relationship. But over the years, people grew a greater appreciation for Descendants and Zombies and fell in love with it more, and I think that this is exactly where Descendants and Zombies has wanted to get to, because so many people have loved Descendants and Zombies for whatever reason that they love Descendants and Zombies, and it shows every single day that somebody comments or somebody likes your video, because it's their way of letting you know that they love what you talk about and the moments that made them a fan of Descendants and Zombies. You know, years ago, I don't think Disney ever had a powerful niche as powerful as this. Sure, they may have had characters that we could identify with, like Hannah Montana and Sharpay Evans from High School Musical and Hannah Montana fame from that era. Of course, Alex Russo's character, played by Selena Gomez, can also be included in that conversation, perhaps Demi Lovato as well. I think Disney's really come a long way from this generation that prided itself on live-action TV shows that may have made a whole lot of sense to that generation, but just look at how Disney has evolved. You know, many years ago, Disney was just priding itself on creating shows that were based off music and somewhat of a 22-minute long story for the purpose of recording an episode of Hannah Montana or Wizards. There was never really a story until the third or fourth season, and just when the story was being developed and getting good, like how Hannah Montana had this relationship with a guy named Jake, they canceled the series. And as an essence of that, I thought the series was very short-lived because there was so much more of a story to be told. Another series that a lot of people don't talk about a whole lot was Andy Mack, because of its story and how it would continue on from episode to episode. It was very different from Wizards and Hannah Montana and that era. And at that point in time, that was a show that Meg Donnelly was a big fan of. And I understood why, because there was so much of a story being developed from season to season, from episode to episode, and people wanted more out of it. It was another one of those series that ended long before its time, because there was so much of a story to be created, and every single episode that you were watching, a new storyline was going to be created. Stuck in the Middle was another one that kind of sticks out in my mind because of how Jenna Ortega brought this character to life. And how she brought this character to life was with so much enthusiasm and so many unpredictable moments. I remember when Rachel left the series because she was going off to university, and they tried to create a storyline off of that. And I believe there was so much of a storyline to be created and to be presented. And I think Disney could have, headed in that direction with so many other of their most popular franchises, even Phineas and Ferb, which they kind of dropped the ball on. Now with this reboot, I see more storylines being created than ever before. So I think Descendants of Zombies really stands alone for having a greater chance to create storylines that people can feel inspired by. It took Wizards of Waverly Place years to have a reboot, Wizards Beyond Waverly Place, and we see the relationship between Selena Gomez and this little girl on the show that is carrying on the legacy of the Wizards of Waverly Place characters and doing it so phenomenally well. Billy, I think, is her name. So I think that after all these years, Disney's finally getting it, that we want to see more of a story developed and shows getting past 4 seasons and going further, like how Bunk went to 7 seasons. Again, even though we had new characters be brought into and introduced into the Bunk franchise, I really do believe there were still so many storylines left to be created for a series like Bunk that went 7 seasons. And when you think about it, I think Bunk was the longest running Disney Channel TV series in history because they got to 7 seasons. Most shows could never get past 4 seasons, 100 less episodes. I think there's always an opportunity to create something special, and there's always an opportunity for characters to be reintroduced, and especially with a show like High School Musical, the series. I mean, everybody was a fan of that. Everybody who knew what High School Musical was a fan of High School Musical, the series, because they could identify with the characters. And these characters would come over from High School Musical, the series, and bring Descendants to life in such an emphatic way. I believe Uliana was a part of that series, as well as Kylie Cantrell. And I think at that moment when they were casted for Descendants, they realized they had gotten to a point that they always wanted to amount to. Because all they ever wanted to do was inspire people through the power of music and the power of dancing and bringing a script to life. Being a theater kid for years, that's all you ever wanted to do, was step out onto the stage and have the audience fall in love with you for whatever character you were portraying or whatever message you were trying to convey, no matter how difficult it was. And it was all about how the audience was going to respond to you. And I think from the very first moment that we saw characters played by Kylie Cantrell on High School Musical, the series, we knew she had it. And what it is something very special. She had a lot of heart, a lot of dedication. And then because she had a lot of heart and dedication, people from out of nowhere started criticizing her, as well as along with the other Descendant stars who were part of High School Musical, the series. And I really do believe that if we would have given them more of a chance, I think people would be saying far nicer things about Kylie Cantrell than what they are now. The most support has come from the fans of Descendants and Zombies. That's where the most support has been seen. And rest assured that people like Meg Donnelly, Milo Manheim, Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker will never ever forget you guys for the amount of love and support that you have continuously shown these franchises. You come out in unison for meet and greets. You come out in unison for the Worlds Collide Tour. You had your questions ready to go for the Q&A sessions. And even the critics on YouTube couldn't stop criticizing the Q&A sessions and how they were orchestrated. Regardless of how the Q&A sessions happened, you guys asked some really cool questions. And I've been doing this for a really long time, and I haven't asked as innovative questions as you guys have as a journalist and a columnist, because I've been doing this for what feels like forever. I think that if you guys were showing more respect and given more credit, I think you guys would go down in history for being the most smartest fans and incredibly supportive fans of whatever niches that you were a fan of, because some of you are Phineas and Ferb fans, some of you are Tangled fans, some of you are High School Musical, the musical series fans. It's really cool how much of a cultural diversity is represented with this YouTube channel, but it never fails to blow my mind how incredibly supportive people are of the Descendants franchise, and it's been over 10 years. It's been almost 11 years since Descendants and Zombies became a part of our lives. And I think it had everything to do with how someone may have been trying to find acceptance in a world that was very difficult to find acceptance in, to find answers to questions that they can never seem to get the answers to. And then from out of nowhere, here comes Zombies. Because Zombies, you take it, was all about acceptance. If there was one message that was reoccurring in Zombies, especially for Addison, played by Meg Donnelly, it was about finding her place in the world, no matter if it was because she was a werewolf, a zombie, an alien. However she was going to achieve acceptance, all she wanted to do, she was determined to find acceptance, with or without Zed in her life, because it was all about how he was going to accept her choice. Because remember how she was struggling with the identity of a zombie and a werewolf by Zombies 2, and she was figuring out her origin. And that's when her character really started to evolve, but it got them to a point where they made the decision that no matter what sacrifices had to be made, because of the different groups, they were going to spend the rest of their lives together by Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires. And my favorite scene from Zombies 4, Dawn of the Vampires was the final kiss between Zed and Addison, because of how much they meant to the franchise and how much they built it up. I know there's been a lot of conversation about why Victor and Nova didn't share a kiss because of how passionate they were and how they felt about each other, but you got to think about it. There isn't much of a story that we have seen so far between Victor and Nova. Once we get to a point where Zed and Addison's characters got to, which allowed them to share that significant moment, we will see the same thing happen for Victor and Nova. And that's something to be really excited about. Again, going back to how everybody finds something, no matter what it is, to criticize. They couldn't find anything to criticize about Victor and Nova. That's why they chose to criticize the fact we didn't see a kiss. They should have shared a kiss like Zed and Addison, and the story could have been told and completed. I get that, but we're embarking on a new franchise. So because we're embarking on a new franchise, there is more of an opportunity for more storylines to be presented and to be created. I'm just excited to be a part of it. You know, I really don't care if Victor and Nova share a kiss at all, because this story is becoming more beautiful as the years go by. And as the years go by the time Zombies 5 happens, many of you will be teenagers. You'll think back on all the years you spent being a fan of Zombies and the reasons why you were a fan of Zombies, why you collected the dolls, why you had watch parties with your friends, slumber parties, what have you. And you will appreciate these moments far better than you do now. I'm not saying that you don't appreciate them now, because you do, but when you're a teenager and Zombies 5 happens, you'll say, oh man, this is cool, and I'm excited to be a part of it. Because everything that I've ever been a part of as a columnist and a journalist over the years working for the radio and YouTube is something that I'm just excited to be a part of. Because I think that if you have a passion, there is nothing wrong with showcasing your passion to the world and encouraging people who can't find their passion to showcase their own. I've seen so many wonderful people who have subscribed to this YouTube channel showcasing their passion for reading, showcasing their passion for dancing, playing the most beautiful songs with the most beautiful collaborations on a music instrument of their choice. I say this because some of you are even athletes who have subscribed to this YouTube channel. It is amazing the amount of representation that I've seen from this YouTube channel that I never ever thought I would have. But I have each and every one of you to thank for that. And I just want to say thank you so much for having turned this YouTube channel into a global phenomenon and really a success story for me. Because 7.5 years ago, I thought my career was over. And I thought I would never fall into a niche that would be this incredibly supportive of my vision for Descendants and Zombies. But some way or somehow, I managed to fall into one final niche. One final niche that I want to spend forever and a day talking about Descendants of Zombies for each and every one of you, even if that means that I have to upload Descendants of Zombies videos for the rest of my life, and I've moved into a house near a soda plantation and a chemical plant, which you're pretty much living in fear of the soda plantation and the chemical plant exploding simultaneously. But the thing is, in order for one to create videos about Descendants of Zombies, he not only has to create videos and upload them to YouTube about Descendants of Zombies, he has to live his life out like Descendants of Zombies and live like the characters. Feel like you're involved in an immersive experience. Kind of like you guys at the Worlds Collide Tour this summer when you showed up by the thousands at whatever venue you attended for the Worlds Collide Tour. You didn't care. All you cared about was the people that you loved and showing that love and support for those people. You didn't care about the critics and what they had to say because there were many of them in the crowds, unbeknownst to a lot of people who are watching these videos. In every crowd at the Worlds Collide Tour, everybody has a critic, and for sure the Descendant stars have had critics, and they attended the Worlds Collide Tour with the sole purpose going into that to criticize your favorite stars. But you guys outshine them, and you guys deserve all the credit and all the respect in the world. And I just wanted to be that guy to give it to you, because I'm just like each and every one of you. If I would have had the chance to attend the Worlds Collide Tour, oh, you had better believe I would have made the most of the opportunity, because I think we can never seem to say enough nice things about your favorite stars, and that's what we should be doing, is saying nice things about your favorite stars so they too can feel encouraged, so they too can feel inspired. I mean, I don't ever want to come off as a critic. I just want to come off for being a nice guy who loves Descendants of Zombies and all things Disney and Nickelodeon related, everything pop culture related. And that doesn't mean sitting down for 500 videos and talking about the same 3 or 4 celebrities, Sabrina Carpenter, Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, who seem to have a revolving door surrounding them or a force field where they seem to be impenetrable because they're the greatest of all time. And if a conversation can happen about them being the greatest of all time, so too can it for your favorite Descendants of Zombie stars, because I've heard way too much conversation about how Miley Cyrus's legacy has been forever and always solidified. I get that too, because I watched Miley Cyrus learn so much so quickly, and her rapid-fire ascension to the top of Disney was truly unlike anything that I had ever experienced in my lifetime. So too was the rapid-fire ascension of Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato, because the way that Demi Lovato trains in MMA is truly unbelievable. I think that these stars have come a long way, but they still have a long way to go. And I think that their choices sometimes are very questionable. The bizarre behaviors they exemplify will forever be criticized because they will forever be, victims of criticism about, what happened during their time at Disney. And then people upload these videos trying to explain what happened to them during their time at Disney. I think God gave them voices, and because they're using their voices, what's happening here is a lot of criticism is being derived from it. I think that God gave them voices to use, and if they can't use their voices, then what's the point? I actually love hearing their opinions. I love hearing the opinion of Kylie Cantrell. I love hearing the opinion of Dove Cameron, because it's very different from what I was used to hearing growing up. And now that these stars are figuring out they have voices, I don't think we should choose to criticize them. I think we should give them more of a chance than we've ever given anybody, because this generation of Disney stars will never be seen again. Disney will never produce stars like this ever again, and they're going to be missed. So while we can enjoy what we can, that Kylie Cantrell is a part of, that Ruby Rose Turner is a part of, that Malia Baker is a part of, I think that we should. And I think we should together. And if we're going to say anything nice at all about Descendants of Zombies, and that is exactly what we should do, is we should say something nice about the franchises that made us the best of friends and brought us that much closer together. And I really don't see anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a fan of Descendants of Zombies if you're passionate about collecting the merch and the dolls and being part of the Worlds Collide Tour and watching the movies 1,000 times, if not 100. Because believe you me, I've done it, and I'm seriously thinking about doing that tonight, because I have done it. If I haven't done it 99 times, I've for sure done it 100 times. But I do it because I love it just as much as each and every one of you do, and I want you guys to know that. And I think there is nothing wrong with being a fan of Descendants of Zombies, because people are very passionate about who and what they believe in. And if it is Descendants of Zombies, and that's what we have to talk about for the rest of our lives, then I see no issues with that, because that's a passion. And that's what people find very difficult to find and discover about themselves sometimes, because they think they don't have a passion, or they're not passionate about anything. But I really do believe that everybody has a passion, and for every passion there's a dream. And when that finally becomes a realization for you, and you put that into perspective, and you realize this dream is actually coming into fruition for you, there is no greater feeling. So when you really think about it, it's not a matter if you don't have a passion, because everybody does one. It's the matter of how you find that passion and how you showcase it for the world and put it on display. And that's exactly what Kylie Control is doing, because that's what Kylie Control wants to do. And she's just like each and every one of us who have passions for dancing, singing, being part of whatever we're a part of. I think doing well in school is another one. Everybody has a passion. It's just a matter of when, where, and how you find that particular passion. Guys, from my heart to yours, seriously, thank you so much for all the subscribers. People have been subscribing like crazy today to this YouTube channel. I am heading out to a movie premiere. I will be back just after sunset tonight for one final video, which I invite you to join me for, as we will pick up this conversation right where we left off about Descendants and Zombies, because never enough nice things can be said about these two franchises, and never enough life can be given to it. Guys, from my heart to yours, seriously, thank you so much. I love you guys so much, man. Stay calm and zombie on into the foreseeable future. We will talk once again about Descendants and Zombies in just a few hours from now. Thank you so very much.